I told you guys earlier today, this is going to be a long, drama-filled week. There's no way the Indiana Fever could do any PR to possibly combat the amount of segments that is about to be done on them today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if they lose on Thursday, expect a big time going in from major networks. I'm talking Fox, ESPN, and it's already starting today because Cheryl Miller went on ESPN and she ain't holding.
A simple sideline interaction in Indiana unexpectedly turned into something far bigger than basketball, sparking a nationwide debate. Once Cheryl Miller shared her perspective, the situation escalated even further. What was originally just a brief exchange between Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell is now being endlessly replayed, with people searching for meanings that weren't obvious in real time. The unusual thing is that each replay seems to produce a slightly different interpretation, and as the discussion grows louder, agreement on what actually happened becomes harder to find.
It's right into Indiana. After starting the season 4-2, the Fever have lost 2 in a row, and they're coming off a 16-point loss to the Fire yesterday. Cheryl, from what you're seeing, what's happening in Indianapolis?
Right now, it's frustration, and unfortunately, it's boiling over and it's being steamed. It's one thing to have it behind closed doors, but when it spills over and when the coach has to basically say, "Hey, you know what, Caitlin? Enough is enough. This is too disruptive." In and out, take a seat.
Before we move on, hit that like button and subscribe because this is one you don't want to miss. Some moments in sports don't stay confined to the game anymore. They break out of the arena and spill into everyone's phones like a cracked stadium screen going live. What was once just basketball starts to feel like something much bigger, almost like a real-time experiment where pressure, personalities, and public opinion all collide at once, shaping the story as it unfolds.
So yeah, Sue Bird and Cheryl Miller decided to talk about the entire Caitlin Clark situation where she lost it to Stephanie White, and I don't think that it's like anything wrong was said. Like, I really don't think anything wrong was said. Like, there was criticism for Caitlin Clark here, while not overly criticizing her, because I'm being real.
That's the exact atmosphere around Indiana right now, where every single possession, sideline look, or quick exchange during a timeout seems to take on a life of its own the moment it reaches social media.
It unfold in front of our very eyes. You have the Kerry Champion comments, hit piece. You have the USA Today article, hit piece. You have Stephanie White and Brianne January drawing up a defense that makes Caitlin Clark looks like a 10 times worse defender than she actually is. Is she Tony Allen? No. Is she Rajon Rondo? No. Is she as bad as everybody is making it out to seem? No.
What was once just normal coaching frustration has now become the focus of intense online scrutiny, where fans pause, zoom, slow down footage, and reconstruct full stories out of split-second reactions.
Yeah, I see why the Indiana Fever was so cold last night, because it got so heated on the sideline, they had to turn the AC on, man. They had to turn the AC on, man. It got heated, all right? It got heated on that sideline with Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. And what I want to do is I want to show y'all the video of what happened, right? And I want to show y'all some examples in the NBA of what I've seen. And then we're going to come back and we're going to kind of break down what Justine was doing, KK, and Kelsey Mitchell, okay?
Right in the center of that storm is a sequence that's now been broken down from every possible angle, involving Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White, and Kelsey Mitchell, an intensity usually seen in playoff elimination games, not routine regular season tension. What should have been a simple sideline correction has instead become a national conversation, largely because nothing spreads faster than high-definition footage taken out of context. The debate didn't remain confined to fans. It quickly moved into mainstream sports media, where former players and analysts weighed in with the kind of authority that comes from years inside locker rooms. Among them was Cheryl Miller, whose comments reframed the discussion from what happened to why this kind of situation keeps surfacing under pressure. From there, the internet did what it always does, turning a small spark into a wide-ranging wave of interpretations, assumptions, and character judgments delivered with absolute certainty. The irony is that basketball has always included moments like this. Coaches yelling, players responding, veterans stepping in, and everyone moving on to the next possession. But in today's environment, nothing really moves on anymore.
Boy was gonna make a video about this. Rhodes, is Stephanie White out? Is Stephanie White gone? Is Methany White gone, Rhodes? Have we been saved? Is Jan Jansen coming to coach the Fever? No. Unfortunately, one of the GOATs got by a Twitter X fake.
Every reaction gets recorded, replayed, and reinterpreted until it grows into something far bigger than the original moment. That's where Cheryl Miller's commentary added momentum without directly intending to. Her analysis didn't come off as gossip, but as a reminder that what people are reacting to isn't new, unusual, or specific to one team. In competitive sports, frustration isn't an anomaly, it's part of the structure. The difference is that once those moments are broadcast publicly, they stop being internal communication and start becoming entertainment. And once that shift happens, distortion naturally follows. Every sideline exchange involving Caitlin Clark gets treated as something deeper than basketball adjustments. It becomes symbolic. Gestures are interpreted, words are reconstructed, and meaning is assigned whether it was intended or not. With the level of attention Indiana is receiving, the team has effectively become one of the most closely watched pressure environments in the league. In that kind of spotlight, even silence can be read as a statement. The original sideline exchange has now been replayed so many times that it exists in multiple versions, depending on who is watching it. Some interpret frustration, others see coaching intensity, some point to miscommunication, while others frame it as part of a broader story about leadership and control. In reality, though, as is often the case in sports, the truth is likely much simpler than the narrative built around it.
There's a lot of frustration, but it's also not that crazy. This isn't the first time we've seen this. It doesn't have some deeper meaning to it. I've had moments like that with coaches. I think it speaks to relationships, player-coach relationships. Shout out Brian Agler. You could say anything to that man and you could keep it moving. And then I had other coaches where maybe you couldn't, and you have to learn each other in that way.
But you knew the line. But you knew the line. When it becomes disruptive, and then when and that's when even Kelsey Mitchell kind of chimed in and said, you need to go stand over here and let us just regain the calm in our huddle when it becomes.
But drama rarely survives in moderation. It thrives on escalation. That's part of why commentary from former players like Cheryl Miller carried so much weight. When she described the situation as simple competitive frustration boiling over, it pulled the discussion away from speculation and back toward the basic reality of basketball. Teams argue, coaches correct, players respond, and then the next possession begins. Even so, that perspective didn't slow the internet's breakdown of every available frame. One of the more heavily discussed angles became the communication hierarchy on the court. In any high-level basketball setting, there's always an unspoken structure. Coaches set the direction, guards manage the flow, and experienced players help steady things when chaos builds. But drama doesn't survive in moderation. It thrives on escalation, which is why commentary like Cheryl Miller's resonated so strongly. By framing the situation as normal competitive frustration rather than controversy, it shifted attention back to basketball reality. Teams argue, coaches correct, players respond, and move on. Still, that didn't stop the internet from replaying and dissecting every frame, especially around communication roles on the floor, where coaches direct, guards organize, and veterans steady the flow. When a team is young and heavily scrutinized, that structure gets tested more visibly and under defensive pressure. Where spacing tightens and decisions speed up, frustration is often less about emotion and more about system strain. Yet online, those moments get stripped of context and turned into storylines, while experienced voices like Sue Bird and Cheryl Miller help normalize what looks like chaos, but is often just in-game adjustment.